Are you looking for the best opportunities to yield farm Bitcoin, especially without the risk of impermanent loss? Then this is a video for you guys. Welcome back on the channel. For today's video, we're going to use DeFi Llama to find the best yield farming opportunities for your Bitcoin holdings without the risk of impermanent loss. You might be one of those that loves your Bitcoin so much that you don't even dare to sell it. You just want to hold it and grow your bag the more you can. And you're not even considering to put your Bitcoin into the risk of getting impermanent loss, taking a bit of your bag. If that's your case, this video will perfectly suit you. We're going to go through what DeFi Llama shows us here on the best yield farming opportunities for Bitcoin. Now, I will also link under in the description my latest video that I did on ARK, a protocol that is operating on the Bitcoin ecosystem, allowing people to liquid stake their Bitcoin holdings in a decentralized way. If you're interested about yield farming Bitcoin on the Bitcoin ecosystem and not on other blockchains, you should definitely take a look at it and see what ARK is proposing to us. And here on DeFi Llama, you can see that I already set some filters up. So we're tracking currently 57 pools, over 439 protocols and 92 chains. These are more than enough pools, and you won't get triple digits APR, but still, it's Bitcoin, and we can still get double digits APR, which, if you are truly bullish on Bitcoin, you don't guide yourself for today's price. Even if we hit an all-time high today, you don't really care. You are probably looking at the long run. So all of these pools will allow you basically to stack sats every day, and most likely very passive. So you don't have to manage everything all that often, at least. And if you're wondering what type of filters did I apply, here in the token I inserted to include solely BTC. Under categories, I only added yield aggregator and DEXs. So we are mostly looking at liquidity pools that have Bitcoin derivatives in it. And under attribute, I just selected no impermanent loss. The TVL, I also set it to be $100,000 minimal. So just to satisfy my curiosity, I just sorted this to show the lowest TVL here, and it's showing a pool that has $121,000. It's on OP network, and it's the yield aggregator Biffy that takes care of it. So this is already an option that it's paying an APY of 1.41%. I'm pretty sure we can get better than that, so let's go here and sort things out by a higher APY. Okay, I just sorted the list by APY because I want to see the best yields and go from top to bottom. But of course, depending on when you are watching this video, you will likely, even if you apply the same filters that I did, have much different results, because that's how volatile and ever-changing the DeFi landscape is. Now, let me also mention, since we're looking at no impermanent loss, there will be a ton of different Bitcoin derivatives. And those are just different contracts that they are solving a problem. And that problem is using Bitcoin on other blockchains, because as you may know, Bitcoin has its own blockchain. So in order to be used in a different one, teams need to get to work and find some solutions for that. So you will find then a different ton of derivatives here. I'm just going to give you an understanding of if they are decentralized or not, because that's part of the risks you are taking. Okay, so I just sorted the pool list here by the highest APY, but sometimes this can be misleading. And let me show you why. If you look here at a 30-day average, you see that the APY just drops from 19% to half of that roughly. So now we're looking at a 30-day average, which is below 10%. And if you take a look here at the 30-day APY chart, it just shows you a little spike. So eventually what happened is that the volatility of the market just spiked this up, or eventually there's some sort of incentives ongoing with this specific pool because it's a single-sided staking. You don't have exposure to other derivatives of Bitcoin other than BTC.B. So I'm leaning more to the option that there will be some sort of incentives program ongoing here with yield aggregator. They are a yield aggregator, just like the name says or implies, and they are on pair with Harvest Finance or Biffy. So eventually you won't have to do much other than deposit, and they will take care of the auto compounding option for you. So still, if you have some Bitcoin on the AVAX blockchain, this is probably going to be a very reliable option. But again, if you don't care about chains, if you don't care about which derivative of Bitcoin you will be using, you just want to get the best and highest yields for Bitcoin, we want to go here and sort these out for 30-day average APY. And let's face it, when you're using such a strong currency like Bitcoin, the strongest currency known to man, you want to look at in the long run. You're not chasing yields for the short term, you're chasing for the long term. We're looking at something that can last us at least 1 year. So the better it is performing with a wider time frame, which is the case here, that will give you a better idea of how things are going and will be going in the future. Okay, now looking at this specific pair here on CurveDex, this is a very interesting one, and let me tell you why. We're facing here or pulling two very different Bitcoin derivatives. Wrap Bitcoin, which is centralized, and TBTC, which is decentralized. Now, I'm not planning to go in a debate on whether you should or should not use centralized versus decentralized options when it comes to Bitcoin derivatives. I'm just trying to share the best information for you to make your decisions accordingly. So that's something I will leave to you up to decide, but Wrap Bitcoin is minted by, I believe it's BitGo, so it's a centralized entity. TBTC is a decentralized derivative of Bitcoin, which is minted by the Threshold network. So everything is run through smart contracts, there's no middleman. We can take a look here at their website. I might do a video on it soon in order to share with you some decentralized options for you to use Bitcoin on other blockchains other than Bitcoin native network, but in a decentralized way. There's a few different very interesting options, and the Threshold network and TBTC is actually one of those. As you can see here, they have been operating safely for 4 years and bridged over 11,000 Bitcoin. But anyways, back here on yield, you see the first pair here, it has a very low APY, and there's definitely have been some spikes here that make this to go up. For example, some people might have withdrawn liquidity from the pool or added liquidity to the pool, and that basically made this chart, which was flatline, to spike up. And even with the reward APY here paid in the Curve token, it's rather low, but it's a very safe project. CurveDex is one of the most renowned dexes out there. It has been operating for years, but still, you probably want better yields, and so do I. So let's take a look at the second place here. I think now we're getting into more solid ground. We're looking at STBTC and TBTC, two derivatives of Bitcoin that are decentralized. I touched upon STBTC on the video that I mentioned before. So you want to take a look at ARK if this is something that interests you, definitely. TVL is super solid, over $3 million. The APY currently is 7%. It's operating on the Ethereum chain. But there's overall not that much volume in this pair, and you see that because the base APY, which is the APY that is directly influenced by the fees being generated, is rather low. It's well below 1%, right? And you see the reward APY is 7%. So this is paid on the Threshold network token, and from my research, the team behind TBTC is the same one that now developed ARK and STBTC. So they're definitely trying to incentivize users to use their tokens, and therefore this pool is being highly incentivized by them. Paying 7% for you to hold and deposit into a Bitcoin pool that has no risk of impermanent loss. I mean, let me add that if the tokens for some reason depeg, yeah, you will have the risk of impermanent loss. But overall, I think this is a really good option. I believe the 30-day average APY will keep on toning down for the next few days. And depending on when you're watching the video, you can assess that for yourself even. But the reward APY here, that's what makes it very appealing to me, because I'm getting paid 7% a year to hold my Bitcoins. Now the third place here shows us again wrapped Bitcoin with BBTC. Uniswap v3 on Ethereum, base APY 1%, 30-day average over 10%, and there are spikes all over the place. And this gives me an idea there has been ongoing action with this pool for the past month. There's days of high volume, there's days of low volume, but overall, if we're looking at an average of close to 10% for the past month, I think it's definitely worth to give it a shot. Now let's look at the fourth ranking protocol here, or pool. In this case, it's a wrapped Bitcoin, a single staking pool with Harvest Finance. So they're operating on the Arbitrum network. The APY is 12% roughly, base APY 6%. So this is also a very solid one because the base APY is actually the highest we found so far, and it's also being rewarded with incentives on the Arbitrum token. Actually, I'm not sure if this is the Arbitrum token. It's stating here it's iFarm, so it's probably a reward token from Harvest Finance itself. But still, Harvest Finance is one of the biggest yield aggregators out there. You'll have exposure single-sided here with the only wrapped Bitcoin. The only potential downside I see here is because you're operating with a centralized derivative of Bitcoin, wrapped Bitcoin, right? Okay, let's close up the top 5 here with the wrapped Bitcoin paired with TBTC. Again, the same thing we had on the first option here on CurveDex. The difference is that this one is on OP network and with the Velodrome V3 DEX. APY very close to 1%. And the reward APY is basically what's sustaining this. Although the 30-day average is looking really good, it's looking at to be something very close to 10%. And I think OP Network is one that doesn't get the attention it deserves. It doesn't have all that much volume, but it's one of the best when it comes to giving you options to get yield on your Bitcoin. So although the APY here is a bit on the low end, the reward here, I think it makes it very much worthwhile. It's paid on the Velo token, which works the same way as, for example, the Aero token on Aerodrome. I think this is actually, don't quote me on this, but I believe they are the same team. The team that developed Velodrome is the same that developed Aerodrome. And so if you are bullish on Aerodrome, although Velo operates on a different blockchain, you probably have the same mindset when it comes to it. So you'll get paid overall 0.9% a year to hold Bitcoin there. And in the meanwhile, if there's some volume, of course, that will also be paid out to you. So far, we already have plenty of options here to diversify even. There's probably some that you won't be all that much attracted, but the others here, the second and the fourth, with the reward APYs over 5%, I think they're very much worth it, to be honest. So let's keep going here down the list and see what's showing up. Wrap Bitcoin paired with Solve BTC. Again, Solve BTC is decentralized and Wrap Bitcoin is centralized. They're paying a reward APY here paid in cake, and it's operating on the Arbitrum blockchain. The 30-day average, it's coming very close to 10%. And the base APY, to be honest, it's quite decent. It's very close to 5%. So it's a pool that's generating a very interesting amount of volume. Now we have the first pool ranking here on Beefy, paying for the past days almost 9%. This is the type of pool that you definitely want to use a yield aggregator to just improve your results with, because it's on the Ethereum blockchain and those come with high gas fees. So even if you want to claim, you're going to pay a lot in gas, and maybe that will not be worth your while because the amount that you're claiming might be lower than the fees that you are going to pay. So when you're looking at Ethereum options, Beefy or other yield aggregators are going to be definitely something that you want to look for. And instead of going firsthand into the pool by yourself, just see if there's some opportunities with yield aggregators that you can take part of. What yield aggregators do is that they socialize the costs of investing into a pool. So the gas fees, all of that is socialized. You'll pay a small fraction than what you would if you'd be investing by yourself. Okay, now we are on single digits land. Everything we're looking here has lower than 10% for the past 30 days as an average APY. For that reason, let me just point out the ones that are having some higher rewards. So you don't need to account for volume because these rewards are meant to just incentivize users to provide liquidity to that pool. So on Arbitrum here, CurveDex, we have something paying very close to 7% in rewards. On PancakeSwap, you also have here 2.5% as rewards just to provide liquidity to a Bitcoin per pool. And then some more options here on Curve, which shows you that Curve is very friendly when it comes to giving you liquidity pools, options for liquidity pools with Bitcoin, right? And especially look at this one, it's paying you in Arbitrum tokens and also Curve tokens. So it's 2% overall, paid in both. So if you're bullish about Curve token or even ARB, this might be an option for you. Wrap Bitcoin with TBTC. Alright guys, there's going to be a lot of pools here. They're just going down the same lines. I want to just show you something which is using a Bitcoin, not derivative, but Bitcoin itself. And that option is going to be here with THORChain. That's actually something that sets THORChain apart from everything else. You see there's definitely a ton of other protocols that try to find a way to make their own token derivative of Bitcoin so that people can yield farm on more volume heavy chains. But THORChain has a different type of technology. They are operating with real Bitcoin. They're not bridging anything, they're not minting anything. You are holding true Bitcoin. And if you're a Bitcoin maxi watching the video, you know what I mean, because for all of those that are newer to DeFi, let me tell you, there's many people who do not consider Bitcoin to be true until it's bridged on chain. And by that, I mean until Bitcoin arrives on its native chain. So when you're looking here at this option with THORChain, you're looking at real yield of Bitcoin, so to say, right? Paying 2%, 1.5% APY for the past 30 days, 1%, which is not bad. I mean, it's Bitcoin and 1% a month for Bitcoin. If this keeps up, we're talking about something along the lines of 10% a year. That would be awesome just by holding native Bitcoin. So it's definitely something you want to check it out. THORChain, although it has seen better days in the past, I think it's a really useful blockchain. And there's still a ton of potential. I would love to see this chain just blow up in TVL, in volume, and seeing the price of their native tokens to skyrocket. I really like the utility they bring to the DeFi space, and therefore I wanted to share with you also this very, very reliable option. Actually, I think this is the single one on the list that uses native Bitcoin. And if it's not, I mean, it's going to be definitely the highest ranking one. So guys, we just went through a ton of options here. You can diversify your Bitcoin holdings through all of this without the fear of having impermanent loss taking a piece of your bag. Probably in the future, I'll be making dedicated videos showing you what is, for example, DLC Bitcoin, Solve Bitcoin, among others, and showing you if they are centralized or decentralized options. I think that's a piece of very important information we should know of because, after all, when yield farming, you want to be aware of all the risks. And in the past, we saw what happened with centralized entities holding users' Bitcoin. Alright guys, this is all I had for you for today. But if you're looking to join a group, a community of people who are taking their first steps into DeFi and investing into liquidity pools, okay guys, this is all I had for you for today. If you took value from the video, like and subscribe. If you want to know more about yield farming, I have a ton of free content here on the channel. I think it's more than enough so you can start getting your own results. But if you still feel that you need more guidance, I recently became an affiliated with the Crypto Labs research team. So if you want a link for that, I'll leave it down in the description. It will get you 20% off of your first month. But even outside of the paid access, you still can get a lot of free information here with them. Or even check out their own YouTube channel, which I will also leave a link down below. Let me know if you have any questions down in the comment section. Thank you for watching guys, take care, and I'll see you on the next one.